What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of The Bachelor, Season 25, Episode 3. Let's go ahead and break this episode down because there are people who I thought that I liked, and now I don't, and there's someone who actually surprised me that we're on the same page. Alright, so we start this episode off with the scene of Sarah fainting, or should I say having a dizzy spell. So here's my thing. She literally has this dizzy spell. Matt comes and it's her knight in shining armor and is like, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need to sit down? Oh, now that Matt has come over, she's like, oh, I feel better. Oh my God, I just needed a moment. I feel better, Matt, now that you're with me. I'm like, okay, Sarah is milking this. Now, as we know, I liked Sarah, but this episode, baby girl did a lot of questionable things, okay? So, at this point, there are still roses that needed to be given out, and actually, Sarah is just taking up time. She has been taking up all the time. Like, the ladies on this episode needed to be like Maxine Waters and be like, I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time. Now, one thing that happens during this moment, though, is that the ladies are starting to take notice that Sarah is just basically getting one-on-one time with Matt while she's going through her little dizzy spell. So she comes back and we finish the rose ceremony. And of course, what's her name? Mary Lynn. She did not get a rose because Victoria set her ass up. Okay, like it's not that I didn't think that he was going to send her home, but like she literally got sent home for no reason. Just because Victoria was having a bitch fit that day. So we then go on to the next day, and Chris ends up coming to talk to the ladies, and we learn that there's going to be 3 dates, two group dates, and 1 solo date. So for the first group date, this was pretty interesting, you guys. I guess Chris wrote a book of some sort, and it's like some erotica, romantical book, and they have some lady up here. I think her name was Ashley I guess she was on another season of The Bachelor. She's up there, she's reading these sexual words that are written. I'm like, okay, this is a bit strange for ABC. So we learned that the ladies have to write their own love story that's very sexy and steamy about what they think basically a night with Matt would be like. So some of the ladies, they went there, and then there were some ladies who were, a bit more shy about what they wrote, and they still wanted it to be very tasteful. Like, we heard a few snippets from, I believe it was like Serena C and a few of the other girls, and their stuff was like, it was still like PG-13. And then we heard a snippet of Victoria, and I was like, okay, she's going the X-rated route. I would not expect anything less from Victoria. So it's finally time for the ladies to hit the stage. And who's in the audience? The other ladies who were going to go on the second group date. So we start the night off with Matt going first. And I can't lie, his was so like cheesy. Like, I just felt like it was very PG. Like, I wouldn't even say PG. Like, one of his lines was like, I'm gonna kiss you between your hairline and suit. I'm like, hairline and suit? Who wrote this? Like, who wrote this for this man? Because they need to be fired. It was not sexy at all. I'm sorry. So we see Anna go first. Hers was cute for what it was. I really liked Serena C. I just like her voice for some reason. And like, I just love the tone of it and the richness in her voice. Kayla's, I liked hers because it was something that I would probably say. A little bit vulgar, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it gets to the point. Katie, I forgot that Katie was the vibrator girl, and she really went there. Like, she had a lot to say, okay? She pushed the envelope. We finally get to Victoria's, and honestly, I feel like listening to Victoria's, the ladies had the most fun, like, being shocked and laughing, because her love story was a lot to take in. So as we see all the ladies having a good old time, laughing at all the love stories and all this stuff, we see Sarah, and she's just struggling because she had her one solo date with Matt, and now she's just super jealous. And then we later see her even tell the ladies who didn't go on this current group date that I'm talking about. She tells the other ones who are at home, like, oh, you know, I just feel a little bit jealous because I feel like we really had a connection and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, girl, this is like day 2. What are you talking about? So after that, we see that Matt is going to have, you know, how he does like the little after party or whatever, and he's going to have individual conversations with the ladies that are on the group date, right? Or at least that's what we thought was going to happen. So we do see Matt talk to Rachel, and you can tell she's like so into him. She has been waiting to have a conversation with Matt. She's the same girl who cried because he said a prayer. They only talked for like a few minutes, and now she really thinks that they have something special. I'm like, okay, girl, whatever. I mean, I like her, but she's just falling head over heels, and she keeps talking to this man for like 3 minutes, like every other day. We also end up seeing Matt have a conversation with Bree, who, I'm sorry, I really do like this girl. And she was just talking about how the story that she wrote, she still wanted to have a lot of mystery because she's not the type of girl who's going to get very vulgar and explicit with what she wants to do with Matt. And he's like, you know, I like that your story had some mystery. I think he really does have, Bree has really caught his eye, I feel like. And they look really cute together, honestly. So we now actually get a little flash to the house where the other girls are, and come to find out, it's time to announce the next date and who's missing. Sarah. Sarah is MIA. Hell, Sarah was MIA when it came to being around the other ladies most of this episode. So while she's missing in action, we learn that Serena P is going to be going on the solo date with Matt. Sarah was actually missing in action, though, because she just can't take it. She's so triggered because there are other ladies getting dates with Matt, and she can't take it. I'm like, girl, you knew what this show was before you even got here. Like, I understand Matt saying this is his first time going through this. Hell, he probably never watched the show before. But these ladies, they have definitely been watching The Bachelor. Let's be honest here. So at this point, we all thought that Victoria was crazy. Nope. Sarah is the crazy one. Like, she literally left her room, which she had been there all day. She left her room, put on a jacket, and went to go see Matt. Like, while he's on a date with the other ladies. So we see Katie. She's finally having a conversation with Matt, and it looked like their conversation was going quite well. It just kind of started, but you know, they were like joking with each other and laughing. And here comes Sarah. She just like stands there and is like, oh, can I just steal him for a minute? Like, in that moment, I felt so bad for Katie because she was finally getting her chance, finally getting her time to shine, and here comes Sarah ruining it. So Katie steps away, gives Sarah her time with Matt, but she also goes and tells the other girls who are there, guess who decided to pop up? Sarah's crazy ass. So now the other ladies, they are pissed that Sarah is there because this isn't her date. And they convince Katie to go back in there and take her time back. Reclaim her time. So Katie, she does it. She goes back in there. She's like, hey, I know that you said you need a few minutes, but like this was my time. Like, I don't think she was going in there initially trying to be rude, but I just hope that Matt didn't see it as her being rude, because honestly, Sarah was the one who was rude. Sarah should have never showed up to that group date, regardless of her feeling oh so sad that Matt was on another date. Like, girl, sit in that house and chill out. You'll be fine, because clearly you guys have a connection, remember? So Sarah finally leaves, and Matt ends up walking her out or whatever, and then he's like tonguing her down in like the walkway. And I'm like, hold up, you're tonguing her down, and then you probably gonna try to have a conversation with Katie and then tongue her down? Just nasty. Oh Lord, I promise, this show, I could never be on The Bachelor. So again, instead of Sarah actually just leaving the entire building and going back to her room, what did she do? She made her presence known to the other ladies that are there. And she's like, oh guys, I'm just so sorry because I just had to discuss something with Matt and all this stuff, trying to do some type of fake apology. And the ladies were not feeling it. They knew that Sarah was full of it. Like, girl, you've known this man for like 2 days at this point. Why are you over here trying to be so jealous and clingy to him? Relax. This whole show is like a game. Come on now, you're not playing it right. So, after that, she finally walked out, and Victoria, or should I say messy-ass Victoria, she decided to come outside with her and be like, so what was the whole point of you coming here? Why are you here? What did you have to discuss with Matt? And Sarah is still giving like BS excuses. Also, what's crazy is that when she was talking to the other ladies trying to apologize, they even called her out. It was like, you're saying that you had something so important to tell him, but you haven't told us anything. You're talking in circles. But anyways, Katie ends up coming outside too. She rolls up on her, and Katie's like straight up with her, and she asks her like if she's dealing with insecurities, and she basically tries to set Sarah straight about her actions. And I don't blame her for doing that, because if I was in Katie's position, I would be pissed off because my time got cut because of you. And as we know, Matt only has, I promise, it seemed like this man only got 15 minutes to talk to 12 women, which makes no sense whatsoever. So, after all that, the ladies go back in the house or whatever, and Matt, he ends up coming out, and he sits with the ladies. He gives a rose to Rachel, and then that was pretty much the end of the date. Like, he wrapped it up. He's like, all right, guys, this was fun. Hope y'all had a good time. Thanks for coming out tonight. Drive home safely. Like, that is pretty much the message that he gave those ladies. You could see on Kayla's face, she was pissed. She was pissed. Anna was pissed. And Serena C was pissed because they did not get any time with Matt. Anytime. Serena C has not had no time with Matt at all. I feel like Kayla, the only time she's really talked to Matt was, when did she talk to Matt? That first day, when they were sitting in the back of the pickup truck. And then Anna, she ain't talked to that man at all. Only that first initial, hi, let me speak to you before I walk into the house. That was it. So, after this, we do see a clip of Katie. She's sitting with some of the other ladies who didn't go on the date, and she's like updating them on what happened with Sarah. And like the other ladies are like, what? I did not know that that's what she did. we had no idea that she even left the house. Because she snuckily did it. That's why. So, after that, we see the lady sitting around yet again. And who's not there? Sarah. She's not there. She is just, focusing on how she can hog up time with Matt or be stuck in her room. That's just how she's rolling this entire episode. MJ, she ends up voicing that Sarah is being super manipulative because at this point, it's not fair that she has already been on a solo date with him. She spent extra time with him during somebody else's date. She gets the time in, while there's a lot of people who have not spent any time with Matt at all. At this point, Matt is supposed to be getting ready to go on a date with Serena P. But no, what is he doing? Coddling fucking Sarah. Because Sarah is stuck up in her room. She's laid out in her bed talking about how hard this is for her and all this crap, while he's supposed to be on a date with a whole nother woman. So she's crashing into that time, as well as all the other ladies are seeing Sarah's true colors. Like, Sarah was full of crap this entire episode. He finally leaves the room with Sarah, and he's like, oh yeah, that did take longer than 5 minutes. Like, yeah, you think? Anyways, he finally goes on a date with Serena P. They go horseback riding. I like her. She has a really good energy about herself. She looks like she's a lot of fun, likes to have a good time. They talk about how her dad wasn't supportive of her coming on the show. And then, she asked if his mom was supportive. And we all know that his mom was completely all for him getting on this show and finding love. So we then see a flash to the other ladies in the house. And they are talking about how Sarah has been in her room all day. And that was just like a quick clip there. And then we see Serena and Matt again. And they're at the evening portion of their date, and they just talk about past relationships and how Serena has been in love once before versus Matt, who he thought he was in love before, but now that he's gotten older, he realized that he wasn't in love. She did say that, she is falling in like with Matt. She did not say love. She's not going crazy over Matt. And he actually feels the same way. He feels like he can get to that point with Serena, even though he says this with every lady. After that, the ladies at the house, they are waiting for the next card to come in so they can know what's going to happen for the next date, right? So they're just like, where's Sarah? She not here. Whatever. So they're about to read the card, and here comes Sarah. Finally, she shows up. The girls are pissed yet again, and this time they finally see her face to face, so they start going in on her. And I wasn't even mad. I didn't even care that Sarah felt some type of way. Now, I will say, Victoria was stepping on her neck, though. Victoria was not letting her off the hook easy at all. And she's like, I don't know about the rest of the ladies, but I do not accept your apology. And then Kit tells her that the rest of her time here will be horrible. I mean, at least the girls gave her a warning, because she tried to screw them over, and she forgot that she has to live in a house with them and not Matt. So after that night, I think this had to have been the next morning, Katie talks to Sarah, and Sarah says that she has decided to go home. Then she goes on about her family and her dad and his illness. And I absolutely feel bad for her about the situation with her dad. But I feel like that conversation had no place in what she's going through at this point. I feel like she needed to be honest in that moment. But this was all about her feeling insecure that Matt is going to fall for another woman that is not her. So at this point, Katie goes back to the group and she tells them that Sarah left. and for them to still stay classy because she was going through some other things, and for the ladies not to judge her, or just say really cruel things about Sarah leaving. Oh, but Sarah couldn't leave without seeing Matt, so she goes over to his house. I mean, not to his house, but like his neck of the woods on the resort. And she pulls a Victoria, y'all. She goes and tells Matt about all the drama in the house, how they're treating her so mean and all this crap. And then she finally brings it on home about how she needs to go home to be with her family and all this stuff. And I'm just like, good riddance, Sarah. She finally gets in the car. She finally decides that it's time for her to leave. And she's in the car boo-hooing, talking about this, the hardest thing she ever had to do. And I'm like, the hardest thing you had to do was leave a man who you've known for 2 days? Girl, if you don't get some business about yourself, I think the hardest thing would have to be for me, if I was in her situation, would be like leaving my dad, knowing that I only have so much time to spend with him left. Like, girl, get your priorities straight. But that pretty much wraps up this episode, you guys. Go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode and which ladies you are feeling. And on that note, I am out of here. See you in the next one. Bye, guys.